Welcome back to the garage, everybody. Today we're going to be finishing up our TBR7 Scrambler build. Last time we modified the frame, chopped up the seat, and did a few wiring projects. Today we're going to be slinging some paint and putting it back together. Make sure you hang out till the end where you get to see me take it down the road. Let's go.
Howdy y'all, and welcome to my shop. Join my family and me as we build projects and go on adventures. My name is Waylon, and this is Muddy Turtle Motors. Pulled the tank off. I've emptied it out. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut off these extra caps because we're never going to put plastic back, and we're going to grind it up, clean it up, make it look better. Before we do that, like I said, I've already drained the fuel out of it, but there's always vapors, and to keep this thing from blowing up, I'm actually going to fill it full of water. So fill it full of water, do all the grinding and cutting, and when we get done, we'll paint it. Got our green paint that we chose, and we're going to dry out the inside of the tank and displace any residual water with some alcohol. Make sure to get all the water out of it, and should be done. We'll be able to install it back on the bike. Be nice, pretty green. And now, before we paint, something else we're going to do is pull the headlight back off, because I want to paint the headlight bucket to match the tank. Those are the only two parts of the bike that we're going to paint. Alright, we've taped that off. I'm going to go get this full of water and then I'll be back. Okay, well, a little bit of grinding, and I need to clean that up a little more. I'll get the grinder back up to that. But everything else, pretty happy with. We'll clean this booger up, then I'm gonna pour it out, and we'll start flushing it with alcohol, and we'll go from there. Okay, so emptied out the water. We filled the tank with rubbing alcohol. Now I'm making sure I splash around real good. Displace any water. Been shaking this for a minute off camera. Drain that out now. And we'll start prepping for paint. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to remove this cover and get to the drive sprocket. It currently has a 15-tooth sprocket. We're going to change that out for a 17-tooth sprocket. And this bike actually came with a 46 in the rear. What's common for the TBR7s or the Hawk HRS, what most people recommend is a 1745. This one comes with a 46 stock. We're going to leave that alone. And that should be fast enough to get it up into the 70s. My other TBR7, fully tucked in, can get up to 77 miles an hour. This one has a little more work done to the carburetor and the exhaust, so hopefully we can get it up to 80 miles an hour. This is my goal. We'll see if we can do that by changing out the sprocket. So I'm using JT sprockets. These have been pretty good quality. I have them on my other bike. They've lasted, very tight fit, and they do very good. This is the stock 15 tooth sprocket. In the package, I haven't pulled it out yet. This is the 17 tooth. I'll line them up here. You can see just how much taller, how much bigger the 17 tooth is. Just by 2 teeth, it is quite a bit bigger in diameter. And I want to say every 1 tooth on the front sprocket is equal to going up about 3 teeth in the rear. So it's quite a big jump. 17, the way I understand it, is the largest size sprocket you can fit underneath your cover. If you were to run without that, which you can do, you could possibly get a bigger one in there, but there's some wires and stuff on the side of the engine that you should probably keep protected. They put that cover there for a reason. And so yeah, 17, big as you can go, and get a bit more top end out of your motor. Very important on all of your Chinese motorcycles, or motorcycles in general. Blue Loctite's your best friend. Use a lot of it. Don't go with red unless you're wanting to weld it together. Go blue. If you didn't put it together, you should probably take it apart, Loctite it, and then put it back together. Okay, so all the talking and gibbering I did was off camera because apparently I didn't hit the record button. Here's what you missed. I got this 17 tooth front installed. We got the X chain installed, and we swapped out the rear sprocket to the 46 that I got off my blue motorcycle. Apparently this motorcycle was set up for the number 50 chain, and I had bought sprockets and everything for the 428, which I put on that one. This is the standard TBR7. This is the TBR7H, I believe is what it's called. It's the upgraded model. Yeah, so we got this installed, we got that installed. All we gotta do now is clean our cover and get that put back on. The battery box, I did pull it off as well. There's a hollow spot right here at the swing arm that's really well protected. It's a great spot to put the battery. I'm gonna see if I can't make that work. About 3 ooga-doogas will do it. All right, everybody. That's how you change out the front sprocket on one of these TBR TBR7s.
Hold up! Turbo says don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment, share this video, ring the bell, and hit that like button. Now back to the video.
We're going to be putting an end plate on the end of the motorcycle to mount our license plate to. I've already measured the plate to make it fit here. A little test fit. It's a little on the big side, but that's okay. We can always take more metal away. A lot easier to take it away than put it back. So now I'm going to clamp this down on my table, cut it off, and then we'll grind it up, make it look nice. So, we've got our license plate set up. It fits on our bracket. We have our bolt holes drilled, and we have plenty of room up top to put on our tail light blinkers set up. What I'm going to do now is line it up with the frame. I like where it sits, but we have a whole lot of steel here that is not necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cutout, a U-shaped cutout, where we can chop off a pound or so of steel just by cutting it out right here. I only need about an inch worth of metal on either side to attach it to the frame. The whole rest of this is scrapped and it's going to go away. Make it happen. You can't even see it. There it is. We got our cutout drawn. Let's cut it. for our motorcycle. This is going to be our license plate and brake light mount. And now we're going to put it on the back of the bike, tack it in place, check level, make sure everything's square and looking good. And then we're going to finish out our welds, hit it with some rattle can paint, and be done. Welcome back to the garage, everybody. So, been working on the bike. Let's see, can you see here? Last night we finished up the exhaust, we welded the tip back onto the cone, and everything's got high tip black paint on it. We also added the license plate mount here, and how it works, we're going to be putting an LED across the top, and that's what we're fooling with right now. We have all our cables from let's see, this is the left turn signal, that's the right turn signal, and this was the brake light and license plate light. So we have a strip here that'll go across the, can you see it there? Right across the top of the bracket. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna figure out the electrical there. That's not my strong suit, but we're gonna figure that out and get some LEDs on here. And then we're gonna do the headlight and the front turn signals. I also threw on, let's swap. We threw on a horn because the original one was busted. And that was real simple, just plugged right up, bolted right up to the frame. Had the same kind of setup. So now, turn this on. Got a real loud horn, just like a car. Much better than most motorcycles. Got a little beep beep. Still haven't got the basket done for the battery just yet. Right now it's just sitting out to the side. This battery is a 4 amp hour battery instead of a 9, but with us going down to LEDs and all it needs is to start the engine, I'm hoping this battery will work. It does fit in this little hole down here. I'm going to make a basket for it to sit in. Got to get that done today, and then the electrical, and then we're going to check our valve lash, and she should be ready to ride. We'll put the tank and seat back on it, and we'll have a running motorcycle. Let's get it done.
Time out! Have you got your gear yet? Check out the merch link in the description. Thanks for watching!
Let's see. This one's our right, has a light blue and green wire. Our left, I labeled these so when I came back I could know which I was with without having to guess. We have a green, a black, and a yellow-green wire. So we got the cables all figured out. It's a little bit of a rat's nest, but it's not too bad. You have a ground for all 3 of them. This LED is running the brake lights and the turn signals, so all 3 of the ground wires for now. I'm going to actually cut this wiring harness apart and just clean all this up. But anyways, I got all 3 ground wires coming together, and we figured out what everything else is using the diagram from Amazon for this product. And yeah, actually cut it all out just to make sure I didn't mess anything up. But we got our motorcycle, the LED, this is for the tail of the motorcycle, and black to white and green to black and orange to yellow and blah blah blah. Anyways, you can see all that. We're about to start working on the front of the motorcycle. We got our low beam, high beam, right turn signal, left turn signal. We got the foot brake is functioning, this switch, so I was able to test the tail light, but the handlebar wouldn't go, and the handbrake. And I started wiggling wires and checking stuff, and the connectors are right here. This is the switch itself. You can see when you pull that, it releases that switch, and that allows the brake light to come on. But these 2 connectors right here, this one's okay, but the one on the front side right here seems like something might be bent. So there's a single Phillips head screw right here. We're going to drop this, take this switch off and check it out, make sure everything's okay. Maybe it needs a little soldering or something, because I was able to wiggle them. Everything worked. So you got ground, you got high beam, you have low beam, and then you have a on-off. Like it's an on-off switch up here, and this allows you to use this little red button. Alrighty, everybody. So here's where we're at. We've started final wiring project. I've gone through and figured out which wires go where on the headlight, which wires go where on the tail light. I've got the blinkers all figured out, and we're going to be putting the final touches on there. I've cut apart the wiring harness and deleted some extra wires that we no longer need. And the solder's warming up. I've got some, or the soldering iron is warming up. I've got solder over here. We're going to solder our connections, put some heat shrink over them, and then we'll finish up by giving everything a good covering and tucking it away. Stay tuned. So, we got the rat's nest tucked up here for now. I'm going to try to finagle it under a gas tank. We cleaned up all this. So yeah, all this is zip tied up, cleaned up. This is going to get rearranged later. You can see where we tucked in the battery in there. It's very close to touching right here, but I think we'll be okay. The power cord for the starter is going to get moved. I need some more hardware, and then we'll cut us a new cable and bring it around here, move all this, and then you won't see any cables in this area. This is all going to be tucked under the seat, and then of course all this under the tank. We cleaned up the rat's nest that was up here, just pulling back cables and trimming out a bunch of junk. We got the headlight mounted. It's a little frosted because I had an accident with some super glue, but cleaned that up as best I could. Moved it up, mounted it higher. All this is nice and tight. We got our blinkers wrapped on here. Very low profile, but they're very bright, so it should be okay. Cleaned up our cables. I'm actually going to take this bracket off. It's not needed for anything, so that can go away. We added the horn that was earlier today, and that works great. Sounds like a car. Fixed this switch, so that electrical issue is gone. Got this all squared away from my rear brake. Probably should have taped that up a little better. It'll be fine. She's ready to put the tank back on her. Alright, got some fuel in it, and see if it'll start and get the seat on it, and maybe we'll take it for a ride. Here she is. Haven't given it a name yet. Still need some fine tuning, some little things I'm going to change, but still a long way from a standard Tata TBR7. I like it. I'm happy. Hopefully it runs and rides as good as it looks.